Keeping it pushing, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, Neil Rule, D-Mac, KG, Spencer Raxter, and you guys know what it is here today. We talk to him every Tuesday at this time. Dr. Jeff Pierce, the medical director at the Michigan Sports and Spine Centers, our guest. Doc, it's good to see you, and you know, it's funny. Last week, you know, we told some Red Wings tales and things like that, and they're staying in the news, Doc.
They are.
They are.
Our stories? Or
No. Just the Red Wings,
okay.
You know what I'm saying?
We kicked them off. Yeah, no, they've had a phenomenal week. I mean, the Lions were the Lions, and they were overshadowing everybody. But, you know, I heard you talk about let's give him credit. We were all getting impatient with what he's done and some of the decisions. And, you know, and Patrick was one of those risk factors that he took and with his surgery and all that. And, you know, kudos to that. I mean, great. Like, you can't even write that storybook ending for him in Chicago and Shelley and everything. It just brings back so many good memories. You know, we'd love to see that Red Wing energy back in this town.
No, absolutely. But, Doc, we love talking to you here. And I do want to get into Patrick Kane and the hip procedure and why it's working and all that stuff. But I know, because I'm intrigued to hear this. I'm a big sauna guy. And Chris Chelios had his number retired for the Blackhawks. You got a good Chris Chelios sauna story, right?
Yeah, I can't talk about it, though. Yeah. Well, there's a couple.
Tell me the one you can talk about.
Well, how about that? Why was he able to play forever?
Why was Chelly able to play forever?
Because he really, I know he had some knee injuries early and he had a groin, some injuries, but I wouldn't, as a teammate or whatever, Chris Chelios was never in the training room.
You know, you see Kobe, you watch Instagram on Kobe and the Kobe workout, the Kobe methods, all that. There was Chelios before Kobe. I mean, this guy was working harder than anybody. Like even Osgood said, I mean, yeah, Chelly would take the bike, the exercise bike, into the sauna.
Oh yeah, desert rides.
Yeah, 20 to 30 minutes. He ruined more exercise bike than anybody because they weren't made to go in the sauna. But like Osgood said, we tried. We're dead in 5 minutes. I mean, the funny story is, you know, as Mac knows, we had the training room over at Detroit Sports Center at Big Beaver and John R. And I got a call one day late in the afternoon that Chelly's doesn't look too good. You know, he was in there. Can you go check on him? He's literally laid out on the bench, and I'm like, oh my gosh. He's like, is he breathing? What's going on? And I get close to him, and I'm looking for him to breathe. I'm like, obviously you don't want to mess Chelios' system up. And I got so concerned, I did the sternal rub on him. He came up ready to punch me. So he probably doesn't remember that because there's probably so many times. But yeah, I mean, then, you know, there's the talks, the saunas in Russia that we were at during Igor Larionov's farewell games, but we can't talk about those. But.
No, I was just the whole riding the bike in the sauna, age 40, going on up and stuff like that. And Doc, look, we've talked about this a lot on this show. That is the difference with guys like Chelios, Tom Brady, these guys that play late into their game. My point on all that is, Doc, they sell their bodies to the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything they put in their body is designed for this moment to extract every minute that they can play professionally. Am I warm on that or not?
You are, and that's the learning curve of the greats, right? First of all, there's genetics. You know, I always said, I use Ted Lindsay as one of my first examples. We should study his genetics. You know, there's a makeup of them genetically to get through that kind of torture or whatever we're going to call it, the beatings of
paying the
price. Game. Pardon me?
Paying the price.
Paying the price.
Yeah.
But it's also the mental. The mental is stronger. It's the guys that do want to do it, who are going to sacrifice, who are going to get up at 4 a.m. and go practice and play and work out and be ahead of it. You know, and that's the story of the kids. That's why I love all this Instagram stuff, that how you're making the difference. You add up 5% over 20 years that you're beating your opponent at 5%. You're light years ahead of them 20 years later. I mean, that's a lot of percentages. You know, I always tell everybody it's good to be, 80, 75, 80%. You're not going to be 110. When you're doing 110, that's a 30% difference. That's the way Chelios played. He was also fortunate, but he went through the injuries. It wasn't like He was injury free. He came back strong. He was committed. He was addicted to it. I mean, it's just a great story. Is there a simple answer to why they're great? It's their mental, it's their commitment. It's like you're saying, their commitment is to the game. Their whole world is for the game. So, you know, it's not always the medical. It's not like, I like to say there's some great doctor behind them, but it's them pushing it. It's really pushing it.
It is the mentality. It's the mentality of not only, you know, we talk about like not wanting to do it, but having that it's just second nature that needs to be done, and it's preparation. Nobody, you bring up these names as whether it's Chelly, whether it's Ted Lindsay, Drapes, whatever. Like these guys are just Steve Yzerman. They're just programmed differently than a lot of the rest of us. Now the beauty is that a lot of the rest of us who are smart, right, just follow them. That's all you. No, seriously, that's all I would ever do, and it's about the motivation that you know that if they're doing it. And we got into the sauna rides and stuff like this, and got into the different alternatives, but it's going above and beyond. And it's always easier. Trust me, when you walk into the training room and you see Ted Lindsay doing a curl or stuff like this, to be motivated. Why aren't you out there? So.
Exactly. The other part of it is I have a great story. I didn't even remember to bring this up, but you know, you both know I'm good friends with George Gervin, the Iceman.
Yes.
He was honored on Friday at the Henry Ford Village. All the Pistons were there. The alumni were there. And he spoke. I'm fortunate. I've been friends with him for 25 years. And just hearing his story. But what was great was at dinner the next night, talking to my son about the love, what love is. You know, you can be in love or you're being loved. To be in love, he was in love with the game.
Right.
And that's what he said. I'm in love with the game. I love this more than anything. It's a different passion. All these people, and it was funny, then like 5 minutes later, somebody from the restaurant came up and said hello. He goes, it's nice to be loved, but when you're in love with something, that's a tremendous difference from a mental standpoint. And the mentality is like, and then everybody else around you understands the passion. There's a lot of people that sacrifice. Like you looked at Patrick Kane the other night with his father in tears. You know how many times that guy woke up at 5 a.m. to take him? I mean, it's a whole commitment on so many levels. We're not talking anything medical right now. We're talking all family.
No, but we're talking about the mental side.
Yes.
This is all what goes into it, and it goes back to our conversation, last week about putting somebody back together. We were talking about me personally, how it was. Yes, I was a subject, but how much influence that you had getting it right, and mentally is a lot of it. To Doc's point, that's why you got to be passionate about what you chase, and when you're chasing your passion, that's the old adage, then you're not working a day in your life.
100%. Joined, as always, every Tuesday by Dr. Jeff Pierce, a medical director at the Michigan Sports and Spine Center. Dr. Pierce teaches prevention techniques to prohibit further injury, really empowers patients to control their recovery. You can get in contact with the Michigan Sports and Spine Center, 248-426-9944, or michigansportsandspine.com. Doc, let's talk about that. Patrick Kane, right there. It was a low-risk move, I guess you could say, for the Red Wings to do it. But Patrick Kane, this hip situation that he had, he had his hip, quote-unquote, surgically repaired. Only the third NHL players to come back from such an invasive procedure. And I know you laid out the reasons, that kind of the whys, in your opinion, of why it's working, because he's an uber-talented hockey player. At the core of it, that's certainly what it is. But again, getting back to it, when you start talking about 35-year-olds and hips and stuff like that, the conversation tends to get scary around, teams and things like that. But, I mean, why is it working for him? I guess we asked you already, but why is it so high level right now?
Well, we'll remove the word scary at 35. We're still okay.
Yeah.
No, it is. I mean, it's his competitive nature. First of all, we don't know the degree, right? We keep saying it's a resurfacing. What does that really mean? It means we're smoothing out the areas. There's arthritic changes. There's bone spurs. There's things that can create some irritation to the ligaments. How does he recover like that? Number one, his work ethic gets him there. Number two, it's the strength around that hip joint, right? We talked that everybody knows about your core of your musculature, of your abdomen and your back and all that. Again, there's a core of your shoulder, of your hip. When you're strengthening the hip around it, that's what he's doing. He's gaining strength as he's playing. He got physically strong. Now he's getting game strong. That's what you're seeing. And if you compare his skating technique from his first 2 years or first 5 years to what you're seeing now, you'll see, I guarantee, a whole different method of how he's skating, how he's pushing, how he's gliding through. Even on his breakaway yesterday, there wasn't a major acceleration. He knows how to do it. It's like a great pitcher as they age. They still don't have the fastball, but they got more junk now.
Crafty.
Crafty.
We just called Patrick Kane Greg Maddux.
Yeah, crafty, the crafty veteran.
Yeah, I mean, like Darren said earlier while we were at break, I mean, his hands are still his hands. His IQ, hockey IQ is still there. Is his body at 22, 23 anymore? No, it's at 35. The resurfacing, I think it's the commitment of the guy. I'm going to get back, right? You're looking at Aaron Rodgers right now. I'm going to return. I'm going to play. I'm going to make it happen. You know, that's the other thing. It's like some guys are like, I'm done. You know, so a lot of it is mental. And Patrick sees himself as playing, I see, not that we've had the conversation, but I'm playing a different role for the Red Wings than I was when I came to Chicago. I'm a locker room leader. I'm a guy who says, I've been there. This is what you need to do. And he's showing his commitment, which is inspiring. Like he said, I mean, Saban even says it. Be inspiring to someone. When you go out every day, inspire someone. And that's really a sign of a true leader. If you can inspire people, if it's one person, if it's anybody, if I can inspire somebody to go out and start working out and saying, I'm 35 and you just said it's scary, I'm telling you it's not. Yeah. You know,
professionally, you know what I'm saying, Dr.
No,
Pierce.
I'm just playing off of it.
You know what the beauty is? What Doc said is NHL 2024 is fit for Patrick Kane's game because he doesn't have to get hit. Nobody hits. So it's perfect. You don't have to be that fast when you're one of the smartest guys on the ice whenever you're on the ice, and that's what Patrick Kane is. And then the mitts. I mean, that's the same thing if you come out and watch the alumni. I had 3, by the way, Sunday. Sorry, Saints. Ripped one in, right goalie's heading in. Joey said, did you know that was a woman? And I said she made her choices. Right? But anyways, you don't lose the hands. You don't lose the hands. You might lose the speed and stuff like this, but the mentality, and you're seeing that, and it's perfect for 2024.
Yeah. Doc, as always, man, we appreciate you coming in every Tuesday. Next week, I know we kind of talked about it in the text thread. Next, I do want to get into Frank Ragnow a little bit.
Okay.
And turf toe, stuff like that.
I'm not a foot guy, but I'll figure it out.
Do your best. Yeah. All you can do is your best.
That's
You're not a foot guy, so you and Rex Ryan are different. Okay, that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Dr. Pierce.
That's why Doc Pierce and Rex Ryan are buddies.
Absolutely. Dr. Pierce, the medical director of the Michigan Sports and Spine Center. Go to MichiganSportandSpine.com if you're in some pain. Doc, we appreciate your time, my friend.
All right, thanks as always, guys. Great.
Absolutely. Dr. Jeff Pierce, happy to have him.